Hello, my name is Becky. I'm a licensed optician with Cascadia Eye. We have 5 locations in the Pacific Northwest. Today we're going to talk about different frame adjustments and repairs, some of which can be done at home, while others should be left to the optician. Join me while I walk you through the steps.
I've kind of been having this issue where my glasses just throughout the day start to slide down my face and constantly needing to push them up. It's really annoying, but I think it's also affecting my vision.
Okay, it looks like the nose pads are spread out a little bit too far, but it also could be happening behind the ear. So we will check the temples to see if maybe the curve is starting too far behind her ear. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about nose pads and how, if they're slipping down your nose, what you can do from home. And then I'm also going to walk you through what we would do if you came into the office. So in this case, the nose pads are spread pretty far apart, and that's what's causing the glasses to slip down. And so you can just take your fingers and gently squeeze the nose pads together to bring them in a little bit closer, which will help the frame perch up a little bit higher on your nose. And a quick side note, if your glasses are actually too tight and they're perched up too high and you want to bring them down a little bit, you can just take your fingers and spread the nose pads apart. And that will drop the frame down a little bit.
Becky, I pulled my glasses out of my purse and they weren't in the case, and now they're off kilter.
Yeah, I can really see that the right side is sloping down. We need to do a 4-point alignment check and get them leveled out. Okay, here we have a case where the glasses are sitting really crooked on the patient. The first thing that I'm going to do is set the glasses on the surface and do what's called a 4-point touch. Ideally, we would see both corners of the frame front sitting on the surface as well as the temple ends. And as you can see, we have one side that is lifted way off the surface. So to correct this, we can use tools or we can use our hands, either way. I'm gonna take my fingers and really grip hard on the end piece here. While I'm doing that, I'm also supporting the lens and the frame with my other hand. We don't want the lens to pop out. And let's see here. What we want to do is bring this temple down or this temple up. And if you're not sure which side we should start with, you can take a look from the side to see which one seems most out of place. And this side is angled down a lot. So I'm actually going to start by bringing this one up. And then maybe do a little bit by going down on this side. And you always want to just do small changes or else we are going to compromise the soldering points here. And we're still not quite level here. I'm going to bring this one up just a little bit and a little bit more. And now you can see we've got both temple ends touching the surface and both corners of the frame. After this, you would put the glasses back on and confirm that they're level. And if you still have one side that's high or low, you would want to take the side that's high and lift the temple up.
Becky, I was playing with my puppy and she knocked my glasses off of my face. The lens popped out.
Oh no! Let's take a look. Yes, it looks like the screw backed out. So we need to get the lens put back in, screw tightened down. I'll also check the other side just to make sure that side's not loose as well. This is one of those adjustments you can do from home if you have a screw repair kit, screwdriver, but we can also do it in the office too. Okay, here we have a situation where the lens has fallen out of the frame. To do this repair, we're going to start by gently snapping the lens back into place.
And you'll see that there's still quite a bit of swivel to the lens there. And that's because the eye wire there's a gap there, and we need to tighten down on that. You want to avoid using your screwdriver up in your hands like this because a couple things could happen. Your screwdriver could slip and stab your finger, or you could scratch the lens. So I suggest taking your frame all the way down to the countertop and using that to stabilize the frame. And you're gonna take your screwdriver and screw down just until it stops. You don't wanna overturn or you're gonna strip the screw. And while you're at it, it's good practice to go ahead and check the other side. So we'll stabilize the frame and turn down a little bit. That side looked perfect.
So I had a really good night's sleep last night, and I may have broke the string on the bottom of this. And it looks like I scratched them pretty good. Is there a way for me to buff those out?
Okay, let's look here. So your lens is held in with a nylon cord, and for some reason that has snapped. So we're gonna need to restring this in order to situate the lens back in there. And then as far as scratches go, we can't really buff those out. Removing any amount of the surface will ultimately change the prescription. So unfortunately, you would be looking at a new set of lenses.
This pair of glasses is what we call a semi-rimless frame. And what's happened here is the nylon cord has snapped. And that can just happen with age. The plastic becomes a little bit brittle and can crack. But it is a repair that can be done. So I would start by taking out the broken cord and just use the needle nose pliers to get in there and loosen it up enough so that you can pull it out. And then we're going to come over here and do the same thing. Just like that. The next step, you'll want to get a new piece of nylon cord. And I usually start by weaving the nasal side first. I just find that it's easier to work the temporal edge last. You can do it in any order. And if you look closely, you're going to see two little holes. And we are going to start by weaving the cord through the top hole, just enough for it to catch. And sometimes what I'll also do is take the needle nose pliers and just pinch the end of the cord so that it doesn't come back through. Just like that. And then you'll take the other end and weave it through the bottom hole. And then you'll pull it tight, and it will actually sit in this little groove in there. And it's a good idea to get that locked in so that your string isn't pulling out. Okay, and then we are going to weave just through the bottom hole first. And you're going to pull it all the way through. Then we're going to take the lens and get it situated in the frame. And you'll want to, what we're trying to determine right here is how long of a cord we need before we cut it. So we'll get the lens into the frame there. And you can use a piece of ribbon to help guide the nylon cord into the groove of the lens. Pull that through a little bit. A lot of opticians will skip this and go ahead and feed it through that second hole, but your you're kind of guessing on how long the cord should be. So I have found if you're trying to do this as quickly as possible and as accurately as possible, to take the time to put the lens in there, get your cord pulled tight, and then clip it. Just like that. And then we're going to take the lens back out. And then you'll take your pliers, pull the cord all the way through, and then you'll give it just a little twist and feed it through that top hole. Just a few millimeters there, and then you'll pull on the string to get it locked into place. And then I always give it a little bit of a tug to make sure it's in there nice and tight. And then for the final step, you put your lens back in, grab your ribbon, and guide the nylon cord into the groove of the lens. And then as a last check, I just take my fingers and swivel the lens to see if there's any rocking motion, and that's feeling nice and tight. And that's how you restring a semi-rimless.